All right, welcome everyone to the controls webinar, geothermal system equipment performance data through remote monitoring controls. A lengthy headline, but definitely worth your time. We have today Chris Manns, Director of Residential Product Marketing at Water Furnace International, Inc. He's going to be taking us through the benefits of remote geothermal system diagnostic applications. He certainly knows what he's talking about. He's the Director of Residential Product Marketing, as I said, responsible for residential product development over the last 20 years with the company. Chris has had roles of increasing responsibility, including product manager, manager of engineering and research, and director of warranties. So with that said, I'm going to welcome Chris to the call.
Thank you, Matt.
There he is. So just before I hand it over, again, we are taking questions in the Q&A. So please feel free to do that. I will give my little hands up to Chris, who will answer them during the time, or you can save them for the end of the webinar. But over to you, Chris.
All right, thank you, everyone. It's good to be with you today. Want to go through what Water Furnace refers to as our Symphony platform, which provides some significant advantages in service of equipment. So today I want to talk about two different aspects of Symphony. One is the aspect of remote control and energy monitoring for the homeowner, and also system performance, as well as remote monitoring and troubleshooting for HVAC technicians, and how we can use data from within the system over the web to better troubleshoot equipment. So the Symphony platform allows homeowners to, of course, change temperature, change a schedule. We can monitor multiple homes, and then do that all via a smartphone or a tablet. And it's a Wi-Fi based system that allows us to do this. So it allows you to have control from anywhere within the home, control while traveling from the office, while on vacation. And then if we look at it, we allow control from one app that allows you to have control of more than one home. And really, you can have control of up to approximately 25 to 30 zones of control. So whether that's an individual piece of equipment, or if that's through our zoning system, you can have multiple areas of control. And you can see that all from the app. We also provide a dashboard that can be seen through a tablet, or as you see here, for a PC. And the information that we provide is, I'll start here in the top right corner. It's the actual status of the piece of equipment and how it's operating at present. It shows all of the zones that you have on that particular system. It then looks at an equipment summary, which is the things that you would see on a thermostat, such as the humidity level, the set, and what your set point of humidity is, your fan speed, your compressor speed, whether the auxiliary heat is on. It shows you the loop temperature in, and then it also shows you the supply and return temperature of your piece of equipment, along with the energy monitoring, which I'll spend more time on in just a minute. And then it gives you the weather for your given location. From the app perspective, you can see that there are multiple different views that you very easily move across the bottom of this screen, and I'll explain those in more detail as we move forward. So I can control the temperature. And when we talk about control the temperature, we can really control basically all of the things that are on your thermostat from the app or from the dashboard. You can control a schedule, and that schedule can be basically just set it and leave it, which is what we call off. You can schedule 2 events per day, or you can schedule 4 events per day. and set those up however the preference is for the consumer. You can also have a perfect temperature in each zone using our zoning system and set up a schedule for each of those zones different based on how you use the home. The next is energy monitoring. So we monitor the energy of multiple different components within the device, and then we allow you to see the energy over a 13-month period in the display from those three different things. So in the app, from the thermostat, and then also from the dashboard. Another thing that is very interesting from the standpoint of the Symphony platform is we can actually take and remove the thermostat by putting a mud-in sensor and remove the thermostat from the wall, and that allows for a much cleaner look for the homeowner, but also allows them to have full control from their app while they're doing that, and just move the thermostat into a hidden place down by the unit. So it also provides for the homeowner peace of mind. And that's because Symphony can provide you with equipment's alerts and service reminders, notifications to change your filter, whatever those are. And it gives it to both you and your contractors so that the contractor can go out and know what's going on with a piece of equipment and take care of those conditions, that whatever happens, before you have to worry about it. You also can have control of the system through Amazon Alexa by downloading the skill and then just using voice commands to change each individual zone of control for your piece of equipment. So next, we'll move on to what do you get as a contractor? So just as a reminder, water source heat pumps, geothermal heat pumps, have had a unique characteristic in the market for many years, and that is that water source heat pumps, you can get the performance of that system as operating right now without any guessing. And that happens by just measuring the pressure drop across the heat exchanger and get the temperatures across the heat exchanger. And by doing that, you can use your catalog and compare to the manual to know, based on the pressure drop and the change in temperature, what is the performance of the piece of equipment. You also can get refrigeration by putting gauges on the system to get your superheat and subcooling, which is obviously standard for every HVAC system in the market. The goal of this was to make it so that you didn't have to go to that extra work of getting to the unit and to understand the performance of that piece of equipment. So as we do an assessment, and this is meant to be kind of the minimum that it would take to service a piece of equipment, but servicing a traditional geothermal by troubleshooting that manual way, we have to send a technician to the home. We diagnose what the failed part is. That typically would take an hour at least. Drive back to the office, file a warranty claim by phone, then drive back out to the home, replace the part, and then drive back to the shop. And so if you do that, kind of takes about 6 hours of time to just do that troubleshooting to identify the part and get the right part for replacement on a warranty repair. So I want to go to now to what are the basics inside a system and what allows us to have a remote diagnostics and troubleshooting process. So if we look at the base control system that is in most heat pumps in the industry, you have a control board that controls a single speed or a dual capacity compressor. You have LEDs that allow you to know what's the status of the piece of equipment at a given time. You can control any type of fan motor. And then on a lot of pieces of equipment, this solid line is a hardwired 24-volt connection with the Y1, Y2, W type control. What is added to the water furnace system is a communicating control, which we use a Modbus protocol to a thermostat that then allows us to communicate what the control is seeing out to the thermostat. And then if you connect another Modbus connection to what we call our Aurora web link, that connects the Aurora controls to the web and enables Symphony that gives you remote diagnostics and troubleshooting. So from an Aurora-based control, you get two-way communication between the thermostat and the equipment, and then to the internet with that AWL and Symphony. It gives you fault codes via text and email to the technician. So even with a base control system, we can identify a probable part that you need to go out and troubleshoot a system before you go out. So for example, if you have a high pressure lockout on a system that's in heating, lots of times you can just take a filter and say, it's probably a dirty filter that I need to go out and change. When we add advanced controls onto the base controls, it can significantly increases the I/O that we can have from our system, the inputs and outputs, and adds significant capabilities such as variable speed compressors, electronic expansion valves, variable speed pumps. But from a diagnostic standpoint, we add energy, refrigeration, and performance sensor kits to the system, significantly enhancing the knowledge of what we have working on our equipment. So it enables the zoning that we talked about, which is gives us the ability to control by zone. We also have sensors that do performance, energy, and refrigeration. That makes the service significantly simplified for the technician and diagnose a problem. And we can 9 times out of 10 identify the specific part that has failed before we ever travel to the job. So our zoning system really works in unison. It has Modbus protocol, and on a variable speed system, you can get up to 6 zones of control on one unit and control your comfort in the space much better. So let's dig in a little bit. What are the Aurora advanced operating sensor kits that we have? So energy, which gives me power and kilowatts, amps, kilowatts, voltage. We have refrigeration monitoring, which gives us the pressures and temperatures of a typical refrigeration system. And then we have a performance monitoring kit, which gives me the temperatures, flow, and the BTU output from the system. So energy is available to the homeowner and to the contractor, and it provides the current and power measurements for the compressor, the fan, auxiliary heat, and the pumps, and then it provides a total energy consumption on an ongoing basis. From energy, you can see the consumption. It can compare your usage from the prior year to the same month. So in this example, we have March of this year here, March of this year on the right, March of last year on the left, and it allows you to have a rolling 13 months of your energy consumption so that you can see what's going on. And by doing this at a factory installed option, it provides high level of accuracy at a lower cost because we can implement it for the consumer without having to measure at the 240 volt level, because we know what the from a transformer, what's the turn down ratio of the voltage coming in, and we can measure it at a 24 volt level and give you a much better accuracy at a lower cost. Next, we have refrigeration monitoring. and it's available to the contractor only because, and that's really who needs the information. So refrigerant pressures and temperatures, and then the superheat and subcooling. So the real advantage to this is you don't have to break into this, connect your gauges up and run the risk of losing a little bit of refrigerant each time you connect, and you can know what the refrigeration pressures and temperatures are at any given time. It provides us an understanding of the performance within the system. It eliminates service call to determine what the failure mode is, and it allows the service contractor to determine a faulty part remotely. And as you can see on the right, the view of what it gives you is discharge pressure, temperature, suction pressure and temperature, gives you the liquid line temperatures in both modes. And then it calculates for you your saturated evaporator and condenser based on the refrigerant in the system, tells you superheat, subcooling, and then even the drive temperature that you have on the system. The final section of the monitoring kits is performance monitoring, and that's also for the contractor. It gives you water and air temperatures and the flow rate, and that allows you to know the exact performance. So as you saw, the consumer gets to know what their loop temperature is and entering and leaving air. They don't see the exact performance and the BTUs from the system. This actually verifies the equipment performance and it gives you any of the systems that are connected to Symphony to know what that performance is on a multi-home system or multi-unit home. So as we look at those different things, we provide the ability to connect a device that we call the aid tool to the board and get the information at the unit for performance, energy, and refrigeration. And that allows us to do complete diagnostics at the unit. But the challenges that we face as an industry are four, as I think about them in categories. So for many, there's a large service area and it takes an extended period of time to drive to the job site. For others, we have lots of city driving. And I use this example because when you will go to Google Maps, it always tells us that it takes a short period of time during to get there. But many times it's a lot longer than the predicted time because we get stuck in traffic. As we look at the current environment that we live in, all of us have staffing challenges and people are exiting the market due to retirement, and lots of jobs are not getting, don't have enough technicians trained to do the work and get up to speed. The other is the challenge that we've had for many years, which is as a contractor, scheduling a time to go out to a job when a homeowner is there and available to let us in to go out and do the diagnostics. And oh, by the way, as we saw before, that diagnostics has a lot of travel time in it and creates a challenge for us. So how can we provide remote fault codes and service for the equipment before we travel? So behind Symphony is a database of 100 parameters on average per system, and that varies on the base controls all the way up to an advanced controls variable speed system that we capture every 10 seconds to make sure that we catch anything that's going on with the system, and we can then monitor what's going on. We can provide trending for each system to know exactly what's going on within that system. And each of those parameters can tell us what in the system is operating at a component level. It can do water temperature trending, or each of those, and all of the different sensors that we're sensing within the system. It provides lockouts for the contractor so that they know which system has a lockout. So on a home that has 4 systems, you can go right to the system that has the lockout. You can do the troubleshooting on that specific system, and it provides a dashboard for the contractor level to know exactly where you want to look at. And then we can do remote configuration. So if it is a parameter within the system that we can configure, we can go into Symphony Remote and do some system configuration. So for example, a lot of calls on just after startup are nuisance calls where we didn't quite set up the system correctly. Maybe we have too much airflow going to a bedroom or something like that. We can go into the system, change the fan speeds from the variable speed fan motor, all because we have a communicating system that changes parameters back to the unit level, and we don't even have to travel back to the job in order to fix that issue. We can do it remote. And then we can do remote troubleshooting. And this screen provides all of the information that we're looking at on a given piece of equipment. So as we talked about before, the manual method was to get pressures and temperatures and all of that and write them down. From the dashboard on a fully sensored system, we know the discharge pressure, the discharge temperature, and we know the saturation. We know the superheat and the subcooling of the system. We know what the system is drawing from a power standpoint, entering and leaving water temperatures, and then we know what heat of extraction, heat of rejection we're getting. We also know our flow across the air coil and the temperatures. And then finally, we know exactly what the thermostat is calling for and what speed we're supposed to be operating at, both from a fan and a compressor, to know if what call we're getting from the thermostat matches what the system is actually seeing from a performance standpoint. This really is where allows us to do the remote troubleshooting and diagnostics, because it's the same form that we've filled out for years on geothermal systems to get us to the level of certainty as to what's wrong. By doing this, we kind of changed the game on how we look at and troubleshoot a piece of equipment. So the same trained technician, instead of driving an hour to the job site, logs on to Symphony, sits down, grabs a cup of coffee, and relaxes. Takes him about 5 minutes. From the system, then, the diagnosis of the problem will take about the same amount of time, but due to the fact that we didn't drive there the first time, we save that hour. We file the warranty claim, then we drive to the home, replace the part, and we take the 2 hours of drive time at a minimum out of the service experience. The other thing that is a significant advantage by doing this is you have the assistance of your distributor, whoever that is throughout Canada, and from Water Furnace as the manufacturer, because our technical support teams throughout the supply chain also can log into the system with you and do the troubleshooting so that you don't have to do the diagnosis all by yourself. And that allows for a less experienced technician to get on the phone, see what's going on, and have a direct line to their help chain to get that issue resolved. So I wanted to kind of show from you have the troubleshooting chart that we've had that shows the real time. We also have all of the parameters from the system that you can see in tabular form, that allows you to go to an exact time of day and look at where we're at. If you go to the fault at the top, it will take you directly to when the fault happened, and you can see what led up to that and what was going on. And as you learn the system and get more familiar with the inputs and outputs of the system, it becomes very easy to know how to service that piece of equipment. You can also go from your fault directly to the time of day and then go to this troubleshooting form that I showed you before that allows you to know that troubleshooting. From a graphing standpoint, we have all the parameters that you can graph, and I then say, okay, I think I have a water flow problem on my system. I can then go in and hide everything with the exception of the water flow parameters, entering and leaving water temperature, and I can then dial into exactly what's going on with and when the problem occurs from that aspect as well. As we move forward, we're looking at multiple enhancements that will be coming out this summer, which is downloadable reports, so you can see your energy monitoring, your trending, whatever you want to see. You can see more and more temperature trending of the main zone and the loop to see how stable your system is controlling the zone. And then we're also looking at enhanced consumer alerts, such as when you lose Wi-Fi connection, getting you back online, min and max temperature within your space, so that if your home if you happen to shut your system off and you forget to go out and turn it back on and you leave for vacation, you actually can go in remote and turn it back on before you lose control of the space. So the keys are, none of us alike to drive to a job site. The Symphony system, with all of the parameters that we offer, allow you to troubleshoot from the office or from the job site. It makes it so that you don't have to travel to in order to fix an issue, and it also prevents the homeowner from having to schedule with you. So remote monitoring diagnostics, connect the Symphony system, get all of the sensor kits that we offer, and you get demonstrated performance and remote diagnostics. And we believe it really changes and redefines the HVAC service experience for both the contractor and the homeowner. So that's really what I have prepared for today. So if there's any questions, I would ready for those at this time.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chris. We'll keep it open for a few more, excuse me, a few more minutes. In the meantime, you've got your information up there as well. So if people want to reach out to your email, ask a little bit more.
Yep.
And we'll also have this up on the HRAI YouTube as well, like I said a few times. So getting your questions now, or else we can cut a bit early and have a bit more lunch. Where are you located, Chris? Where are we looking at right now?
Yeah, I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and I shut my blinds so that you don't see the pouring rain.
Okay. Now, what time is it there for you? Because it's noon for us. It's lunch hour.
It's the same time for us.
It's the same time. I didn't do too well in geography back in school. So.
Yep. I'm just south of Detroit.
Awesome. Well, we got viewers from everywhere. So, you know what? Let's cut it there. If you have any follow-up questions, we got Chris's contact, or just reach out to HRAI and we can get you connected. But thank you so much, Chris, for the show, and we'll certainly see you again.
No problem. Thank you.
Thanks so much. And thanks everyone for attending.